Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another unit review after what was a very long vacation for me. And quite frankly, with all of the jet lag, I'm not entirely surprised. And yeah, my hair's a little messy, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, you guys, welcome back. And yeah, it's been kind of a long one, so I'm a little out of practice, so I don't know how well this review is going to go, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have fun with it. So let's get going, shall we? Now, today we're going to take a look at Yuffie, the unit that I was the most excited for on the banner, and yes, there are points to talk about her in the future. I know already. Guys, I do read the information that is happening in whether or not I have time to make videos. So yeah, Yuffie is, just another character that means a lot to me. Final Fantasy VII, all the girls, all the guys, they all meant a lot to me from, growing up. So Final Fantasy VII just has that big special thing in my heart, and you know what? Getting all of them is just kind of something that I've been wanting for a while, but Yuffie is one that I particularly like because she's a fun, interesting character with a fun, interesting story, and that's more than I can say for a lot of things. Gotta say, I absolutely love her victory animation. It is adorable, and I'm going to be sticking Yuffie in my party a lot. Now, Yuffie herself, kind of a interesting kit, as well as just everything to do with this girl is pretty damn interesting. First of all, her Trust Mastery, 30% attack, 20% extra attack when equipped with clothes, and 1 limit burst crystal per turn. Now, myself, I prefer, a percentage of limit burst per turn, but that being said, this still should be perfectly fine. It's a 50% attack with very little conditions, and that's kind of nice. Now, Super TMR-wise, this is kind of going to be important for her in the future, but not necessarily the most important thing for her in the future to be consistently a powerful attacker. But 172 attack and 69 magic. The magic's not the really big thing here. It's definitely the high attack on a projectile. This is a really nice projectile. It also has an extra 50% damage versus avians, and it gives a 100% boost to attack when HP falls below 80% every turn, which is basically all the time. The nice thing as well about this is Yuffie has just a really high attack, so this is just a very strong Super TMR. Kind of just insanely nice. Now, if we could get some bird bosses, that would be great, but till then, I gotta say, really, really like this Super TMR. Now, Yuffie's Limit Burst is insanely strong. It's an AoE 20 hit, 1900% physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, and giving her a 75% physical damage versus birds. Now, again, the killers depend, but just any chaining limit burst has proven to be very powerful in the past, especially with some of the, TMRs we've been seeing recently on the 4-star that has the huge increase to limit burst damage, and given what CG Hayu could do, this girl is just insanely powerful with her limit burst. Now, with that being said, let's talk about her equipment, because her equipment actually includes fists as well as katanas. Now, obviously, the katana thing is way bigger than the fist thing, especially because, CG Hayu, or sorry, not CG Hayu, CG Axstar, or just Axstar, I guess there's only one Act. Anyway, getting off track. Axstar's Super TMR does give this girl a huge other potential weapon to be used, and that's great. It also makes sense. She's kind of a ninja, so being able to use katanas makes sense. She can also equip light shields, which is kind of nice. Now, she is true dual hand focused, but if you need her for an attacker on a trial that is more about survivability, being able to equip light shield is a nice thing as well. So, yeah. She also has some innate fire, ice, and lightning resistance, which I think is really great. And yeah, so let's talk about her kit, because she does have some of the thief things like stealing items, throwing projectiles, and that's great. She also has a way to actually give, to scan a target as well as evade physical attacks. Her kit does have some physical evasion, which is just generally nice to have. And speaking of which, she does also have, doesn't she have a way to give, I thought I reviewed this, yes. Her healing ability heals 2000 HP, 20 MP, an increase of a limit burst fill rate of 200% for 5 turns, and an AoE negate 1 physical attack for 5 turns. So basically, Mirage means that this girl can not only be an incredibly high attack, she can also set up AoE evade, making your entire party survivable, and considering that evasion just seems to be a forever valuable thing, gotta say, really like this ability. Now, the rest of her kit involves kind of imbuing as well as debuffing and chaining. The big thing is that she has 48 MP abilities that can give her a certain element to her attack for 5 turns. This is great because of her equipment selection. Fire, ice, or lightning she can have for 5 turns and do a various types of attacks. And the other versions of these abilities that come in the, where are they? The 68 MP debuff for a higher amount, hit for a higher amount of damage, but don't imbue elements. So you have to use the 48 MP version and then the 68 MP version. The fire attacks are single hits and powerful single hits. The ice attack is 7 hits at Holy Explosion frame, so don't need to really tell you that that is great. Also, because of her ice and fire element, that makes her a natural chaining partner for one of our favorite units, Axstar, and that's just great. But not only that, she also has AR chaining, which is basically the Lunera chaining family, meaning 30 hits, and given that how powerful this girl's attacks and percentages are, this is really nice, especially because you can imbue one of 3 elements, means that she should be pretty flexible and pretty reliable for multiple trials in the future. Now, the last thing I really want to talk about is her cooldown abilities. And just to go over really quickly, these are the abilities that I think are the most valuable in her kit. Particularly, her first cooldown that gives a 250% attack boost for 5 turns. This is just really powerful if you remember her chaining options. Also an increase of 30% limit burst damage. Again, her limit burst is a chainer, so it should be incredibly strong. She also has a limit burst fill in that and gains access to an incredibly powerful attack for 5 turns. And this is available turn 1, so it's very nice to just open with. Her other cooldown is just a 1500% physical attack that is AoE 1 hit. Debuff 65% for defense and spirit for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown. Available turn 3. Powerful debuff on that, powerful attack. And the ability she awakens is a single target, 10 hits, 1600% physical attack that evades up to 2 physical attacks for 5 turns. Now, I haven't been able to test this yet because, honestly, I just haven't had that much time to play this game lately. But I do believe that her 10 hits also chain with Red 13, so anyone who got Red 13, good news, you now have a chaining partner. If they are 10 hits, it pretty much should just chain anyway. But also the interesting thing, 7% MP recovery per turn. Wish they had done this with all the Final Fantasy VII units, but can't really complain. Gotta say, in general, I really, really like her stats. A 205 base attack puts her even stronger than Cloud in terms of base attack. Also, an extra 65 points put in means that she is focused where she needs to be. She can also get a really nice defense and spirit rating, even without any extra points put in, and a pretty nice HP at 8,500. Maybe a little bit lower than some of the other units, but still pretty damn strong. So, we're going to take in Yuffie, and we're just going to do a light demonstration of her character. Now, here's the thing, and this is the elephant in the room. Fixed dice. Now, if you know fixed dice has an incredibly low attack for the fact that it has an incredibly high variance on it. Now, what Alum is going to do, if they have not done, I can't remember, but basically it pretty much starts right away, is that in the future there's a new damage calculation formula for brand new content. And there is no purpose really behind this new damage formula, other than just nerfing to hell fixed dice, which is, I think, fine because it basically keeps projectile users in a position where Alum can't really do anything interesting with them, because they're always going to have to just basically say, well, fixed dice exists, we can't make fixed or projectile users too strong because otherwise we're just going to break the game. And Yuffie does do that. Yuffie has been shown off in videos already of just OTKing old content. And by old content, I mean Gilgamesh Extreme on his first turn. Not even Axstar can do that. So that is just how strong Yuffie actually is with fixed dice chaining her abilities. Just quite simply too strong. So all of that being said, I really like just, how strong Yuffie is, but in the future, she still has a very powerful future, because without this and something like Axstar's TMR, or Super TMR, if you had an Axstar with his Super TMR and Yuffie with her Super TMR, that AR chaining is going to be incredibly strong still, since both of them can give a 250% boost to their attack, meaning that's over 3,000 attack on those chaining abilities, if not just holy explosion. So for some people who say, oh, Yuffie has no future outside of it, disagree 100%, and you can fight me on it if you want. I don't care. But honestly, I have to say that supper's done. Yuffie will have a very, very strong future. Her kit is incredibly flexible for having 3 different elements to it, and 2 elements that Axstar already uses. Now, for this, we're going to be essentially just getting right in here and trying to get her limit burst ready. Zach's here just to look pretty for now, although I will be reviewing him in the next couple of days. We have this girl brought here for one particular reason, and that's because we can actually give the dark element to one of our characters, which is great news because now we're going to be doing AR chaining with darkness. And guess what? Nagi also can debuff for dark, so this is just a wonderful little great thing that we're going to be doing here. Alright, so let's just get some damage in here. Let's see how much Yuffie can do. Just by herself, not chaining anything. Fair amount of damage, and we haven't even begun yet. So we're going to do this. We're going to get in here and just make sure that we are starting to work towards limit burst. And now this is where the fun begins, because we just get to go right in here. We should already be debuffed for darkness because of Nagi, which, again, Nagi is just one of my favorites. And we're going to debuff for lightning, even though we're not going to be getting anything out of it, and that's okay. So let's just double check. There's the dark debuff, and we'll see if I can do this right. Nope, I dropped one of the commands, so kind of annoying. So we'll see how much off chaining can do. Okay, pretty good for the first turn. And just to take a look at their stats, 1900 for Nagi, and I do believe my Nagi is not even necessarily the best equipped. Yeah, she's missing some equipment and some materia. It's a shame, but we will persist. And we don't really need you for right now, so let's just try this again. 3, 2, 1. There we go. That should be still dropping. It can be a little bit hard to chain these AR chaining in that much, but we are doing a massive amount of damage. Now, Yuffie's chaining abilities are incredibly strong and incredibly reliable, but they don't have some of the other things that some of characters like Axstar has. For instance, Axstar does give himself, just extra damage. And by what I mean by that is Axstar can... sorry, losing my train of thought. One of the big things Axstar is able to do is that he is able to give, extra boost to his attack, and he also has backloaded damage, which Yuffie does not have. And the other thing is that there are stacking damage abilities out there. These are all things that Yuffie does not have, but Yuffie does have an incredibly potentially high attack, just like Axstar. So you mean that Yuffie is just going to be a shining unit for quite a long time in the future. Alright, let's see if we can just get a limit burst charged. Kind of hoping for it, but... Now we do have the variance on Yuffie's attack, which means that, it does make it a little bit difficult to reliably get it with the fixed dice approach, but if you put on Axstar's ability, she should be pretty damn fine. Alright, so this should be our fun turn without any cappers. Darkness debuffed for the max amount we can, you know, big buffs to both of our characters. And just take a look at Yuffie's attack right now, 2400, and let's go. Yeah, Janie is just not quite going properly tonight. And obviously variance will always play a role. But Yuffie is able to put out a ton of damage with a couple of very strong units. Nagi, who is a hybrid damage dealer, and Axstar, who is a, you know, just a physical damage dealer. And more importantly, Yuffie is quite able to pair quite nicely with Axstar because of the two elements she does have. So I gotta say, really, 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 absolutely love Yuffie. More just for the fact that she has a very strong future. With fixed dice, she should essentially destroy every piece of old content in the game that is not just essentially physical resistant. And in the future, she still has a potentially good thing because of her own Super TMR as well as Axstar's Super TMR. And that is, if nothing else, something I think that is incredibly awesome. So, Yuffie, big thumbs up. Hope that I will have plenty of opportunities to use her in the future. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time when we look at Zack.